Well, winter has certainly arrived. It's been freezing here this week. I'm getting a little bit worried about my tomatoes, but keeping an eye on the temperature. It's very rare for us to get a frost, but there is no wives' tale that says if your mulberry tree fruits in autumn, then you are going to get a frost. And ours was really weird this year. It lost all its leaves at the end of summer and then fruited again. If there's anything that's going to be under around 3 degrees, I'll probably go and just put one of my exclusion nets over my tomatoes so I don't lose them all. I have only 5 plants, so it's not drama if we lose them. In any case, it's time to get the ginger out. So last year I only harvested one of my pots that had been growing for 2 years. And I find that that's, if I leave my ginger in a pot for 2 years, that's when I get the best harvest. But I wanted to show you the differences between 1 year harvest versus 2 year. So I grow my ginger in pots because I've never really had much luck in the ground with our clay soil. Turmeric, on the other hand, grows like a weed. I don't do anything but chuck a chunk into the garden and it gives me more than I need. Growing ginger in pots is pretty painless here in the subtropics. I choose a position that gets a little bit of morning sun, but it's mostly shaded for the rest of the day. Like pineapples, it's an easy one for us to grow in the subtropics. In more temperate climates, you might find it a little bit more challenging. I've got 5 pots of ginger on the go at the moment, and I'm going to harvest 3 out of the 5. I wanted to give you a little bit of a comparison of 1 year versus 2 years of growth. Obviously, this isn't going to be a true indicator because, firstly, the 2-year-old pot is close to double the size of the others, and it's also a different variety. This is a jumbo variety. The other one, I'm not really sure what it is. It's just one that I picked up at an organic market and shoved it in the ground and it grew. After my struggle with repotting some of my plants last year, loads of you had suggested to use the felt bags. So I got some and I have to say I'm really impressed. They are so much lighter and easier to repot. So thank you guys for that recommendation. I think I will move my blueberries to them when they are due for a repot as well. So unlike most of the populous areas of Australia, particularly down south, our winters are actually dry in comparison, so we can leave the ginger in a pot as it won't rot. It'll just re-sprout as soon as the weather warms up again. So if you have wet winters, you might want to bring your pot in out of the weather if you're going to do a 2-year harvest. A greenhouse would be ideal location as long as it's not getting watered. The benefit of growing them in a pot is you can move them wherever you want. With the new bags, I didn't do anything special. I just used a premium potting mix and I planted in pieces that were starting to shrivel in my pantry. I planted them in October, but the one that I'd left to overwinter had already sprouts by that point. Now with the 2-year-old one, there will be a few that are a little bit wrinkly or even starting to rot, so I just chuck those back into the pot and most of the time they re-sprout when the weather warms up again. Normally I do wait until they are fully died back, and perhaps the harvest of the newer tubers would have been a little bit more if I had have been a bit more patient. I'm going to use my expensive scales to see how much ginger we have here. I actually don't know if it's all going to fit in one dish, so I will probably need to do it a couple times. So. Yep. 2 kilos so far. So that jumbo ginger was around 3.5 kilos from that one pot. So 2 years of growth, 3.5 kilos in a 50 centimeter pot. So let's get the single year growth of ginger in. So for the little pots that were just growing for a year, we got around 700 grams. So it's quite a considerable difference. But having said that, it is 2 different varieties. The pots were a bit bigger. for the one that was left in for 2 years. So we'll see next year how we go with this experiment. Now, the main difference to 2-year-old ginger versus 1-year-old ginger is going to be texture. And if you're wanting ginger that isn't stringy, definitely harvest yearly. You may be wondering what I'm going to be doing with over 4.5 kilos of ginger. Generally, it keeps pretty well, but for ease of use, I do normally blend up a portion and pop it in Ziploc bags in the freezer, but I still have a fair bit left over from last year. So this year I'm going to load up my dehydrator to dry it for making herbal teas. I'm loving lemon balm picked fresh from the garden and ginger at the moment. I'm also going to make some pickled ginger with the younger ginger, which is just slicing very thinly, making a salty brine to let it sit in for a short period, squeezing out that excess liquid and then popping it into a sterilized jar with a pickling liquid. Then the offcuts, I'm going to be making a ginger beer bug to make ginger beer. This is just 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of the ginger. Then we do daily feeds of 2 tablespoons of sugar and ginger until it starts to bubble. The majority of our ginger will be going to making ginger beer, feeding the bug daily, and then making the actual liquid itself. It's kind of like a sourdough starter in the way that you have to feed it. I'll pop a link to the recipe that I follow into the description so you can check it out. We did the math, and to keep a good supply of ginger beer, we need to probably harvest around 20 kilos, which will mean that I need a few more pots on rotation next year. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.